Alright everybody, I decided to start making a video. I'm probably about 2/3 of the way through finished with my kitchen. I'm currently swapping it over from the old style doors that was made, I'm assuming whenever my house was built, swapping everything over to shaker doors. This is some of the faceplates that I'm making from the drawers. I already have 6 of them made. I think I have to make 10 more. I already have all of the height pieces cut. I'm about to make the rails. These are stiles, these are rails, as well as 10 more doors for the rest of my kitchen. Like I said, I already have a good bit of my kitchen done. I'm not a professional. I'm actually kind of winging it as I go, and I think it's turning out pretty good. If y'all have any kind of tips or tricks or anything, I'm pretty sure it won't be the last time I make shaker doors for my house. I already took the measurements for everything that I need to do for the remaining doors and the drawer faces for my kitchen. I'm using the full overlay faceless cabinet hinges from Home Depot. Every time I try to go to Lowe's, the Lowe's ones work, but every time I try to go to my local Lowe's, they're always sold out, so I ended up always getting them from Home Depot. They're around here somewhere. I'll put a picture of them. Oh wait, hold on, I'll grab them right here. These are the ones that I use, full overlay, frameless hinge. My cabinets actually do have a face frame, but I'll go through and take some pictures and videos and stuff and edit this video later on to show how I converted it from face cabinets to faceless. Again, I'm not a professional. I don't know if there's a better way to do it. Building squared shaker doors onto a kitchen that was not square, or possibly was square, but the house is 30-something years old, so it probably settled. I'm sure it was kind of a pain, but I did my best, and so far, like I said, it's coming up pretty good. I use this. Let me see if I can find a cutoff piece with the stickers. I get these from Home Depot as well. It's primed finger joint boards, 1x3 by 8 inches. 8 foot long. 1x3s. They're 3/4 of an inch thick, 2.5 inches wide, 8 foot long. I get these because they're the straightest boards that I've seen, and they're about $6.47 a piece for 8 foot long. They are pre-primed, but honestly, the prime is garbage. I don't pay attention to the prime at all. I will re-prime them before they are painted. This is before, this is after. Once I get the doors together, tongue and groove, mortise and tenon, whatever you want to call it. I have my router table set up down there to cut all of the joints and everything for these. Once I get everything together, I sand everything. I sand all of the prime off. I don't want none of that stuff. I don't know if I have any. You can probably see right here. I don't have my monitor on my GoPro set up, so I'm not exactly sure if it's picking up pretty good, but the prime is horrible. So I don't pay attention to none of the prime stuff on here. Like I said, after I put it together, I sand everything off. I added these little pieces in the back, so whenever I actually put my handles on the front, the gap that is left from the tongue and groove does not actually pull this board back and make it buckle or anything. So I put this back here just to take up the gap, so it'll squeeze wood to wood instead of wood to air space. I don't know if that really makes a difference, but I'd rather have it done before. These are some of the bigger boards that I did. I actually made some pull-out drawers for a few of my cabinets that were just pretty nice sized cabinets before, with like a middle divider shelf, but I converted them to I used the drawer slides and put them on the sides down at the bottom. So instead of, these did have the cabinet hinges, but again I converted a couple of them. Instead of having the door that slides out, I actually made an entire box and put the handle up top and made this, connected this to the face of the drawer where the entire drawer slides out. Again, I'll show some still pictures or videos or something about that later on, once I start editing this video. Again, it's the same thing, started out as this. Prime is garbage, but the boards are pretty straight. Tongue and groove boards, excuse me, finger joint boards. And it's working out pretty well. This is, I think it's 3/16 of an inch Sonde or Sonde, however you pronounce it, board. Plywood, again from Home Depot. It's working out pretty well. As much as I would like to use oak, I just don't have that kind of money to put toward it. So this is working out pretty good for a DIY project. I'm currently cutting out everything, making my, I already have my cut list. I'm already cutting out a bunch of boards. Once I cut all the boards, I'll go over to the my makeshift router table that I made. I'll kind of do a little walkthrough of that, what I did. Instead of actually buying a full-blown router table, I incorporated my router table into my workbench with some flip-up hinges. Whenever I'm not using it, I can flip it down and it's completely out of the way. I wish I made more videos. I followed a bunch of YouTube tutorials, like I countersunk my miter saw on the top of my workbench. My GoPro is currently sitting on top of my table saw that I incorporated into the workbench. I have some other stuff I want to do, but as soon as I got the workbench built, I just started jumping on working on the house. So I will jump back into finishing making the rails and the stiles for my shaker doors and shaker style faceplates for the my drawers, and then I'll go from there. All of these boards, see if I can, all of the edges of the boards, some of them are pretty straight, but I know my miter saw is square. I checked it with my speed square. If you ever do any kind of cuts and your cuts are coming out funky with your miter saw, maybe out of square, there are some adjustment nuts and bolts and stuff on here. Anytime I get these boards, I just cut the very end of it off, make sure it's squared on my miter saw to make sure all of my cuts from there on out on that one particular board are square. That's what I'm gonna do now. All of the boards I need with rails and stiles, with shaker doors, the tongue and groove bit that I have on each side, totaling, if I need, all of these doors need to be 20 and 7/16 of an inch wide. All of the doors, the height, I need them at 23 and 1/8. So all of my height stiles are 23 and 1/8. These need to be exact height that the doors need to be. I'll show you one put together. Whatever the height needs to be, your stiles need to be that exact height. Whatever your width needs to be, you need to subtract your stile width on both sides. If it needs to be 20 inches wide, you need to subtract both of these equal 5 inches. So it needs to be 15 inches going across from the inside of this to the inside of that. But you also need to add the length. My the tongue and groove bits that I bought adds an extra 7/16 of an inch this way, 7/16 inch that way. So totaling both of those is 7/8 of an inch. So it needs to be 15 and 7/8 of an inch wide to give you that tongue and that one. So you need to keep in mind, I've screwed up quite a bit of times with me kind of doing my kitchen cabinets in phases, so I don't have my entire kitchen torn apart. This is not my profession as much as I wish it was. I do road construction with asphalt, so I mess with this after my full-time job. But again, always make sure if it's 20 inches wide, subtract your stile width, which is 5 inches in my case, and 7/16 of an inch for that one, 7/16 of an inch for that one gives you 7/8. So it needs to be 15 and 7/8 long. Don't forget, I've wasted a couple boards doing that, and it's a pain in the butt. So I'll go ahead and start. I'll measure one, and then get me a stop block to screw onto my workbench, so I don't have to keep measure, cut, measure, cut, measure, cut. I could just measure once, set up my stop block, and then make the cuts. If you have multiple cuts of the same measurement, and we'll go from there. My miter saw it does have the laser on it. I don't always trust it. Most of the time it's good, but if you end up jarring it enough, it'll loosen up. So always double and triple check it. Doesn't hurt. I'm really hoping my microphone is working. It's been a while since I've messed with it. Cut 6 of these for my doors, as well as I have a door on the bottom and a drawer face on top. I cut 6 of these for the doors. I need to cut 6 more for the drawer rails. I already have all the styles cut for all of the remaining drawers that I need to do. My kids are not allowed in here while I'm working. I know I don't have any safety glasses or earplugs on. I do have a fan, a 36-inch floor fan behind me blowing the dust away. It's not a substitute. Most of the time I just don't think about it, even though I'm thinking about it right now on my video. It's always good to wear your PPE, earplugs, safety glasses, anything. Never know. I'm totally comfortable in my shop, but I'm not comfortable in my shop with my kids in here. So better be safe than sorry. I'm just trying to get this done because my kitchen's been torn apart for a while now. So don't do what I do. I'm just hoping to any kind of tips or tricks or whatever to help anybody out. All right, everybody. My wife and kids just went outside, so it's kind of quiet in here, so I'm gonna hurry up and do a little video. Took a little break from cutting the rails and styles and stuff for these doors. Just kind of show you what I've been doing, what I'm going from, and what I'm going to. So this is the way the cabinets were. Don't mind all of the old trim pieces. This is what they look like. Basic style, old, I guess old school cabinet doors, whatever you want to call them, I don't know. But for these doors, I'm gonna take these off as just dummy style for the backside of the sink. All of these are getting swapped over to the shaker style doors. For the drawers, the way that I found out the way that they have the brackets, there is some room behind the brackets all the way in the back, at least an inch or two. So I was thinking I was gonna have to get some kind of rabbiting bit or whatever on my router to cut a groove behind the rails and styles for the shaker doors that I'm doing. But come to find out, I could just do like I did on this one. Take the brackets, move them back a little bit, and where the door is actually flush with the face of the cabinets. So that's what I'm doing on all of this. This is my last section that I have to do, all underneath the bore. all the way around. I still haven't decided yet if I'm gonna reface these or not. I don't know. I haven't gotten that far yet. I'm just trying to get the face of it, everything that you see redone. My cabinets were face cabinets. I have the concealed hinges, full overlay. I did take the faces of the cabinets off. All of the edges of the cabinets did have like the 2-inch face frame right here, like this one. But I popped those off and took some sheets of plywood, cut them at a 45-degree angle, and just brad nail and glued them, where in turn it ended up being a faceless cabinet. So I used the concealed hinges. My cabinet boxes is not square and it aggravates the living hell out of me, but again, my house is 30-something years old and I can't really do anything about it. Unless if I fully rebuild the boxes, which is annoying. Don't mind all of the paint and stuff. I'm gonna go back and touch all of that up. I just wanted the boxes painted before I ended up doing the doors. You can see up here that it's pretty flush with the edge of the door. Down here it's not, but the doors are perpendicular to the floor. They're completely level up and down. I did the same thing up here. With the oven being built into the wall, I didn't feel like going through redoing all of this where the doors came to the edge of the thing, to the edge of the wall, all the way up and down. So I just made everything look uniform, going from the floor to the ceiling. Concealed hinges. This is what I did. I wanted to use the same hinges going all the way through. So all of the cabinet doors overlay 3/4 of an inch. That's what these the faceless frame full overlay hinges do. There's 3/4 of an inch. It's kind of hard to tell, but the edge of the face frame is about here. So I have 3/4 of an inch overlaying the whatever face of the cabinets, or underneath here. If this was level, again, if my box was square, the edge of the door should be to the edge of this. So it's all 3/4 of an inch overlay, full overlay for the hinges. Going off the picture I showed you whenever I was back in the garage. Using these hinges, obviously they stick further in from the face of the cabinet. So I ripped down some 2x4s, screwed them to the back side of the cabinets, all the way up, all the way down, put a couple up in here so they're nice and sturdy, and gave it somewhere to screw into. I did it on all of the ones that I cannot convert from face cabinets to faceless cabinets. My taller cabinets did the same thing. Ripped down some 2x4s, top to bottom, tried to make them blend in as much as possible, give a spot for my hinges to screw into. All of them. All of these boxes are painted. Once I get all of the doors and drawer faces put together, I do have a Magnum X7 tankless spray gun for the paint. I'm gonna prime all of these and paint them all outside, all at the same time. Same thing with these. Once I get all of these off, I'm gonna sand all of the gray paint off down to bare wood, prime them, paint them white. We have the new pull handles from Home Depot for everything to match. Don't pay attention to the dirt. We finished cleaning or finished cooking, excuse me, and didn't fully clean. So we're gonna do it once I get out of the garage. I have new stuff ordered. Take the black out, make outdoor kitchen stuff with it, and we have stainless appliances coming. But with some of the pull-out drawers that I was saying. Well, with these drawers right here, I only only push the brackets back on this one. I still need to sand it down. This face is not completely fixed to the drawer. It's only being held on by the handle right now. I need to sand down the face of this because pushing the brackets back, as you can hear, it is catching. So I'm gonna sand the outer edge of it down a little bit so it clears the hole in the back, not having any issues. all 3 doors, top to bottom. Same thing on this one. I think I just opened this door. Yeah. Originally, I'm gonna put a still picture, just kind of pause for a second. Whenever I edit this video, I'm gonna try to put a still picture in here somewhere so you can kind of see before. But originally, this was a left and right door with a dividing shelf going across the middle, and then a left and right bottom door. So it was two separate cabinets divided, but this was one of the ones that I ended up doing I think it's 20 or 22 inch drawer slides. I think it's 100-pound capacity for the pair. We did end up losing a little bit of space in here, which honestly, the way that it turned out, it doesn't bother me anymore. I did have to make some spacers in the back to have the brackets to clear the edge of the face frame. I did the same thing on this side too. A couple strips of 3/4 inch plywood and some of the same material that I did from here just to take up the gap. Did the same thing for the bottom. So two pretty big drawers. Soft close. Did the same thing for our garbage cans. The tape with all the markings, that's how I was making sure everything was square. Did the same thing for our garbage cans. Soft close, same brackets all the way for all of the pullouts. It's kind of hard to tell. Again, it still bugs me. So I know shaker style doors, you're supposed to have like extremely minimal gaps. Some of the gaps are a little bit bigger than others. I still have some adjusting to do on some of them. Whenever I did this is like our snack cabinet. I ended up having, this one was originally like this. It was, you open 2 doors and then I had to pull out shelf for the top shelf and then pull out for the bottom. That was, I had everything done, but I did not account for whenever the doors open, there's a lip. I did not account for that lip whenever I was building everything. So whenever I put everything together, I open the doors and I go to pull out and the edge of the drawer slide bracket was hitting the back side of the door. I didn't want to get used to, like, it would clear if you kind of squared up the door like that, but it was tearing up the side of the doors, so I completely changed it and made both of these full slide outs again. I used the same drawers, like the same 1x3s that I've made the rails and stiles with. Tongue and groove, everything. I did 45-degree pieces right there, glued and pocket hold for strength. Since I had the handles at the top, I didn't want to end up pulling the board forward or breaking or anything. So everything is screwed and glued. Soft close. Same thing right here. So don't need junk food in there for the kids, but this is pretty much it. Going from these style cabinet doors in gray to the shaker style cabinet doors in white. I may eventually go to soft close, but I'm not really too worried about it. With the slamming, once I get them painted, I have a whole bunch of little felt pads to go down in the corners so it's not beating crap out of it, making a lot of noise as we go. I do make the powder coated cups and all of that stuff. So this is from my other YouTube channel, Buy Consumer Tech, where I do reviews and stuff for electronics. If you don't mind, go check it out. Yeah, but this is it. So if y'all have any questions or comments or anything, let me know in the comment section below. I'll try to answer them. Again, I'll continue saying this in all my videos. I'm not a professional. I love doing this kind of work. Wish I can make this a full-time job. It's hard to It's hard to depend on something that's not guaranteed. But I'm in my own little world whenever I do woodworking. I enjoy the crap out of this. I've done a couple things in the house, like all of this. This is definitely not professional at all. These cabinets carried, it was the skinny cabinets, those carried going across here. But I'm 6 foot tall, and if I'd walk up, the cabinets were down somewhere right here, and I couldn't see, so I decided to rip them cabinets out. That is definitely not perfect up there. It is sagging now. I had no idea what I was doing. I just filled it in with whatever I could fill in and put the drop lights in. The cabinets used to have the little square lights underneath. They were all looked like they were getting too hot, and the wires were brittle and everything, so I changed all of that, put the drop lights in. One of my other projects, don't mind my son's room, but this was another one of the projects I did. His room had nothing in it. It was considered a playroom. I know this is getting off topic. I'm just showing something. This is one thing that I wish I did a video on. It is wall to wall, floor to ceiling. The only thing I still need to do is get some crown molding put around the top of the room. This room, all my son had was a dresser. And he had, he had 2 dressers. And he had toys all over the floor, which he kind of has now. Don't mind him, my 3-year-old's in here tearing up his room also. But I wanted to make him kind of like a wall-to-wall, floor-to-ceiling closet, entertainment center kind of thing. So I built this in about 3 days. He's got the double stack closet, a whole bunch of storage up there. I took our living room TV measurements and built this so it fits a 65-inch Samsung TV. More storage. That's completely open. It's got all those big toys in it, kind of like a little cubby hole type deal. And this one for like socks and hats and underwear and stuff like that. So I did 3 of the drawer slides down here. Again, it's not perfect. It's all made out of plywood and 2x4s. But it definitely adds a lot of storage in his room. I do have some other plans, hopefully for some other videos later on, but for now, this is just a quick tour of my goal for my kitchen. I don't know if I'm gonna add into this video whenever I actually get everything painted. I'm not sure how fast I'll be able to get it painted, but I don't know. So far, I'm happy with it. I wish my boxes can be square, but I bought the house this way, and I really don't want to go through and fully make all new cabinets and all. So I'm just hoping to reface this one and give some better life to my kitchen. All right, time to head back out to the garage and finish my doors. All right, back to the doors, back in the garage. As you can see, I have my cut list for the remaining 10 doors and drawers that I just showed in my kitchen done. This is for one of the drawers that I have on my wall. The drawer that I made, it was a little bit shy of the width, so I made another one. This one goes directly above where my dual garbage can pull-out drawer is. The way I have it set up, like drawer, door, drawer, door, drawer, door, drawer, door, so on. 10 doors and 10 drawers. So there's, including this one, there's 21 sets of rails and stiles here. I will go through and cut the tongue and groove. Don't freak out on me, it's not even plugged in. I'll cut the tongue and groove in all of the boards, dry fit them, and then cut the panel portions out afterward. This is all homemade stuff, like I said before. This is a 4x8 workbench, 3-inch casters. I only have locking casters on all 4 sides. I still haven't decided if I'm putting anything in the middle yet. My countersunk miter saw. I have that where I'll just take that off, stick it under there, and then this piece right here fits back into that groove just with a little block right here to lock it in place. I have some more hinges and everything down up in here. I just haven't done it yet. But this is my makeshift router table. I ended up buying one from Lowe's, the Kobalt brand. That was $200 something for a table and the router itself. The router table was pretty good, but I tested the router one cut, went to adjust it, and tried to turn the router back on, and it died. So I returned it. I went and bought this router from Lowe's, the Bosch fixed base and plunge base combo pack. I mainly wanted this one for this reason right here. So I can make my own router table, and it has the adjustments and everything from underneath, which is what I did. Mounted it underneath. I have a 3/8 inch circle plexiglass. I'm gonna go through my Amazon list and add all of the links to everything that I bought, but this came already in a perfect circle. I ordered a disc to fit the router. All I did was took this router, routed the hole for the disc, and then routed the hole for the router to fit in, and then I countersunk the 3/8 of an inch out of the 3/4 inch MDF. Don't mind that. I've had this for years. I used to stain pieces of wood on top of this. It's not blood, it's stain. All I had to do was route the hole, notch this out for the plexiglass. I drilled the holes to mount the router. This is for the adjustment, the height adjustment. It's already adjusted right now from the last time I did the tongue and groove, so I'm not gonna mess with this right now. I have a little makeshift fence that I copied from somebody else. I think I copied, I don't remember. I watched so many YouTube videos. Again, more stain, not blood. I just doing some extra screws. This is the height adjustment right there. I just put some screws so I can keep everything for the router table connected to the fence. I haven't figured out a way, I haven't really put no thought into it about kind of making more of a permanent option where I can just connect the hose to, but it just sits in there, and I have it close to the bit to suck up all of the shavings. It does ride on the T-track, and as well as the 2 adjustment wrenches for the collet to change the bits. I have them just regular screws back here just to set them in place. That's all it is, nothing fancy, just to keep them close by. Again, it's all adjusted already. More T-track. I got these separately. I forgot exactly what company these were for. But feather boards, I got the 2 for the T-track on the back side of the fence, 1 in the front to keep anything from shooting this way, and these are to keep the board down square to the tabletop. This is my tongue and groove jig. I don't know if I'll be able to get that on there, but this is, the tongue is perfectly dead center to this to the boards I'm using for the rails and stiles, and the groove is perfectly center. This is my jig. I use this every single time. I've seen a bunch of videos where it says, yeah, if those are not perfectly aligned, the way that I have these set up, all of the tops are gonna stay top, like meaning facing up. This side says facing up. If for some reason, if I do this and it still ends up not perfectly adjusted, everything will not be perfectly adjusted together. So if all of the tongues were, just say, a 1/16 of an inch up or a 32nd of an inch up, all of the grooves will be as well. Everything will be aligned. It would just be shifted up a little bit or down a little bit. So keep everything that's facing up, keep it facing up. If you end up having one rail up, and then if you end up cutting all of them like this, but yet you scatter your stuff around, have one up and then one down, your board's it's not gonna line up perfectly. I don't know if I'm really explaining that well enough. If you've seen plenty of shaker style door videos, they say the same thing as well, and I've ran into that issue. If you line your stuff up like that, I'm gonna run through all of this. Everything that's facing up, keep it facing up. through all the way through the build process. Once you actually get it glued together and clamped together, it doesn't matter if you go front to back or whatever, but everything will line up like that. That's the goal that you're looking for. You want the tongue to be the exact same area that the groove is. So this is my jig. Like I said, this is already lined up with this. I have my fence feather boards already in place, this feather board already in place. Where my jig is with these bits, you want the edge of the jig riding where it's not shoving on the bearing, but you can see the bearing turning and it's squared to the fence all the way through. That's it. The bits that I use, I bought these from Amazon as well. It's Freud tongue and groove bits. They are adjustable, but surprisingly with the sheet of plywood that I get from Home Depot, I did not have to adjust them at all. All I did was just tighten the nuts up, make sure they were tight, threw them on, and started cutting. So again, I already have this adjusted. I'm gonna cut all of the grooves first. Again, this is not even plugged in right now. All I need to do is plug it in, turn on the dust collection, which is basically just a shop vac with the I think it's dust stopper, the lid from Home Depot. It actually does work pretty damn good. I don't know, I don't have the Dust Deputy or the Harbor Freight shop vac or none of that stuff, so that works pretty good. I think it was $40-something for the top and the bucket. You really don't need these, but I don't, it's just extra safety to have all of the feather boards on top and the front. This setup is to cut the grooves. To cut the tongue, I lift these all the way up, take this completely off, and I ended up making a coping sled. I was gonna buy one, but every other place that I've seen that has them, they were 2 and 3 weeks out, or they were close to $100. This stuff was less than $50. Some scrap wood that I had, ordered some handles from Amazon. I got a sheet of acrylic that I just cut on my table saw. I had these little clamps because I thought they were cool. So I ordered them, had no use for them until I made this. These little things, I forgot what they're called. If you ever go inside of a business, they hold up, they kind of hold up signs away from walls, like if they were backlit. So it actually works out pretty damn good. The way that this works, I'll show it again whenever I start doing the tongues. But it is extremely dangerous to try to cut the tongue. If you have all of this off, to try to cut the tongue going across like this. As big as my hole is right here for the bits, whenever you go across, you may end up cocking it one side and then cocking it the other side. You'll start ripping out your wood. With the plexiglass flush to the fence, you have this little gap. Lift up the clamps. You can slide. This is a backer piece to keep any tear out from the back of your workpiece. You have your backer board, and then you have your workpiece going right there. The plexiglass keeps it squared to the fence. All of this stuff is squared. It took my extreme time trying to get this done right, so I didn't have to half-ass anything and go back. Obviously the workpiece is going to be longer than this, but this will stay square to the fence the entire time. You have handles right here and right here, so your hands are safely out of the way, and you will just glide across. That's all it is. Whenever you finish one side, lift up the clamps, take this, flip it over, push everything square back to the fence, line it up, clamp it down, make another cut, take this piece off, load the next one. That's all it is. Nothing special. It's actually worked out pretty good. I've used this the entire, well no, I actually did a couple doors in my kitchen first, and then I realized that how whenever your wood's jagged, like whenever you're trying to hold it going across the hole, it would actually like round that corner and round that corner, and it looked like crap. I didn't want to go back and have to fill that in with wood filler or anything and then sand it down, so I built that. It's much safer, faster, works a whole lot better. I know I said about my router table, I have these hinges. I think they're 400-pound capacity. I'll put the link in the description below as well. All it is, usually do this, both of them at the same time, but since I'm holding the camera, hold it up with my hip. Got the other side down, this one's down. Whenever I have it stowed away, I won't have the fence on it. I'll take the fence off and just kind of stick it underneath the table. But that is my router table flipped out of the way. Whenever I'm ready to go back, it locks in place. And that's it. So I'll go ahead and get the camera set back up on the tripod. I'll run a couple pieces through. I'm not gonna do every single one. I'll run a couple pieces through with the groove bit, then I'll swap over to the tongue bit to use the coping sled, and I'll get all the everything dry fit, start assembling it and cutting the plywood for the panels. All right, so I went ahead on all of my my rails and styles that I have cut already. I have all of the grooves cut, and I already got my bit swapped out. Again, it's not unplugged, so don't freak out on me. I already got the height adjusted, where going off of my jig, see, perfectly level to my jig, so it should end up being square to all of the grooves that I cut. Slide my fence forward with my jig in the coping sled, push it back with the end of the jig. Let me go ahead and do this. Show that. Like I said before, everything on this coping sled minus this and the handles are square. This is square to your work pieces, this is square to the sled, everything's square. So you want to make sure everything, push the plexiglass up to the fence, push your work pieces to the fence also, lock them down. I don't know if I can catch it in the camera itself, but the edges of the workpiece are square with the edge of this. So as this glides across the front of the fence, obviously the fence isn't locked in place right now, but as this glides across the fence, it'll go across the bit, and with that much plexiglass going against the surface area of the fence, it cannot twist and turn like this. Imagine this piece twisting and turning like that. That's the whole point of the coping sled. So you'll go across, lift the clamps, flip the workpiece around, do the same thing, bring it through, take that out, load the next one. So line my jig up to the end of the ball bearing on the bit. Lock your fence down. Double check it again. It should not be catching the teeth at all. Don't pay attention to the backer board. Again, all that does is prevent tear out behind here. If you can see, it keeps that from happening to the back of your workpiece. So this is just a scrap piece. Again, whenever I cut this groove, it's going to be on both sides. So it should line up with the groove on that. You're only cutting the tongues on the rails, which are the parallel to the ground, top and bottom. The sides, the stiles, left and right, they only get the groove cut. Don't make a mistake like I did before and go through your entire stack, which luckily was way smaller than this. Don't go through your entire stack cutting tongue and grooves, because they all get grooves, they don't all get tongues. Try to keep track of that so you don't waste your time and waste your wood. All right. Do this so I don't confuse myself like I did last time. Alright everybody, it's a couple hours later. I ended up getting all the rails and styles with the tongue and grooves cut. Everything's dry fit. Have all of the panel inserts cut. I actually just dry fit all of them as well. I did not glue and clamp anything together yet. This is what you end up with. I had 10 doors and 10 drawers, plus that one extra shelf for the remaining cabinet by my fridge. To test fit, dry fit, put it together. I do have a hump in my workbench right here, so that's why you have the little wobble. All you want to do is put it together, square off all of the edges, make sure everything's good. Obviously, I did not sand anything yet. Obviously, but seems to be my favorite words, obviously. I did not sand anything yet. I dry fit everything and then I sand, and then before I glue. But to measure the panels for the inserts, you can measure this way and then measure this way. Always remember to add the depth that your tongue bit cut out. You need to add that on this side as well as that side. Mine cuts out 7/16 of an inch on one side, so I have to double it. That equals 7/8 of an inch. The panel in the middle would fit 7/16 of an inch in this one, this one, this one, and this one. So it's got to be 7/8 of an inch bigger this way as well as lengthwise. Again, I already cut all of the panels. I just cut this one before I turned the camera back on. Take the top out. Slide it into the grooves. Put it back in. There will be some play for expansion and contraction. Whenever you go to glue your shaker style doors together, you would glue just the tongue area. Just this right here, both sides, where it comes in contact with the inside of the groove. Do not glue this board together. Let it move freely. You will not notice it whenever you're opening and closing your cabinet doors. It's not going to make a big deal. It's not going to rattle. None of that stuff. I've had mine up for a couple weeks now. I'm just now getting back onto the project. I've been working long hours at work. You do not hear rattling or anything with the door. Unless you literally go there with your door, put your hand on both sides of the panel, shake it up and down, you're not going to notice it. So, again, I have all of my doors done. I would go through, glue both sides of the tongue right here, right here, right here, right here, and then clamp them. Follow the instructions of whatever glue you have. I use Titebond premium wood glue, the blue label. That's the one that I use. Follow the directions on it, and I find it easier to do everything in steps. Measure, then cut all the rails and stiles, and then cut all of the tongues, then cut all of the grooves, and then go through. Try to minimize your plywood panel usage. Try to see if you can lay them out on your sheets of plywood to minimize waste. If you don't, you will end up going through a lot of extra wood. All of these doors, all of my doors at the bottom were, I don't know where my little book is. All of my doors ended up being 23 1/8 inches tall. So I was able to cut all of the panels the same height. I just had to cut the width different. All of my drawers ended up being 6 9/16 of an inch tall. So I was able to cut all of these the same height, and I just had to adjust for the width. The width of the drawers above that particular door, they're the exact same width, so the lines flow with each other. You don't want to have with shaker doors, you try to minimize the offsets between all your doors next to each other, your gaps. Try to do the best you can. You'll probably come out a whole lot easier if you're building something fresh, but it's not exact. It's not a perfect world in my case because I'm building new square shaker doors on unsquare kitchen boxes. Next step, I'm gonna go ahead and glue these and clamp these, leave them to dry overnight. I'll come back tomorrow and come sand everything, sand all of the primer off, sand all of the joints, and the glue that may squeeze out. I have a couple Kreg jigs. If you don't have any, it's an awesome freaking thing to get. I have the cabinet hinge jig from Kreg. I have the pocket hole jig from Kreg, as well as the handle jig. I'm gonna come through and put all of the hinge holes in all of the doors and drill the cabinet hole, the cabinet handle holes for the doors. Excuse me, for the drawers. As well as I have cut a couple of the strips, like I told you earlier in the video, to take up that gap so my handle will not end up pulling this panel board toward the drawer. It'll basically be almost double layered right here, so it's almost flush, for it to be wood touching wood instead of a gap. Possibly over time breaking it. I don't know if it was just me throwing extra stuff in. And then bring the doors inside the house, do any final adjusting, secure all of the drawer faces to the drawers, glue them, screw them, and hopefully be in a home stretch to get them ready to paint. So I really think this is probably gonna be a long video, so I may end up breaking this thing up into 2 parts, just to keep people interested, or trying to keep them from dozing off or losing interest altogether with this situation. But so far, this is what I have. Y'all seen the kitchen that I have. This is 10 doors and 11 drawers. And I don't have no other special tools. I have a miter saw. I have a table saw right there. I have a battery operated DeWalt handsaw. I have a straight edge. I'll make my marks from whatever width from here, clamp them down. These clamps are from Walmart, $2 or $3 a piece. I'll clamp them down, use my circular saw, the left side of the saw, something like this, to go along the straight edge. I don't have no big massive workshop or anything. It's all stuff that anybody can really do. So again, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, anything like that, tips, tricks, whatever, I'm all ears. I'm gonna move on to the next area of gluing these up so I can go inside and go get something to eat.